Today, we are diving into a really powerful tool that helps turn those complicated ideas floating around in your head into simple, clear blueprints. We're talking about the use case diagram. You know that feeling, right? You've got this amazing concept for an app or a new feature. I mean, it is crystal clear in your mind. But then the moment you try to explain it to your team or your boss or anyone else, something just gets completely lost in translation. You're talking about all the cool things it's going to do, all the functions, but instead of seeing your brilliant vision, all they see is this jumble of disconnected features. It's frustrating. That communication gap is exactly where great ideas go to die. But what if there was a simple visual way to map it all out? Well, that's exactly where use case diagrams come in. The best way to think of them is as the blueprint for your system. They give you a high-level graphical map of what your system needs to do, and crucially, how real people are actually going to interact with it. And the key phrase here, really, is high level. This is not about getting bogged down in code or database schemas, not at all. It's a communication tool. It's designed to be easily understood by absolutely everyone involved, whether you're a developer or you're an executive who's never written a line of code. Think of it as the 30,000-foot view of your entire system. So why is this so important? Well, because it captures the what, the functional requirements of your system in a way everyone can see and agree on. You know, in today's world of agile development, this is a total game changer. It's the perfect starting point for writing user stories because it ensures the features you end up building are exactly what the users actually need. It literally creates a shared language, bridging that all too common gap between the technical and non-technical people on a team. All right, let's get into how you actually build one. It all comes down to 3 core components, and honestly, it's surprisingly simple. First up, you have the system itself. It's just a big rectangle. Think of it like a boundary box. Everything that goes inside this box is part of your project, and everything outside of it is not. It's the frame for our entire blueprint, simple as that. Next, we've got the actor, and that's our little stick figure. Now, an actor is anyone or anything that interacts with your system from the outside. So yeah, it could be a person, like a customer, but it could just as easily be another system, like an external server or a payment gateway. The key thing to remember is that actors are always outside that system boundary we just talked about. And finally, the third piece of the puzzle is the use case, which we draw as an oval. Each one of these ovals represents a specific goal that an actor wants to achieve with your system. We're talking about things like make a purchase or log in. And these are always placed inside the system boundary because they are the actual functions that your system performs. So let's just recap that real quick. This table puts it all together perfectly. You can see the logic, right? The actor, which is outside the system, performs a use case, which is inside the system. See? It's a really simple but incredibly powerful way to structure things. Okay, so we have our building blocks. We've got our actors, our system, our use cases, but right now they're just a bunch of shapes on a page. Now comes the fun part, connecting them. These connections or relationships are what turn this collection of shapes into a story about how your system actually works. The most common one, the one you'll use all the time, is an association. It's just a simple, solid line connecting an actor to a use case. That's it. It just means this actor does this thing. For example, a customer actor is associated with the make purchase use case. Easy. Okay, now we get to the 2 relationships that tend to trip people up, include and extend. Let's break it down. An include is a dependency. The main use case cannot be completed without it. It happens every single time. An extend, on the other hand, is for optional stuff. It only happens sometimes under specific conditions. And look closely. The arrows point in opposite directions. That's a super important visual clue to tell them apart. And if that's still a little fuzzy, this analogy just nails it. Think of it this way. If you sneeze, you will close your eyes. It's mandatory, right? It's part of the whole sneeze process. That's an include. But saying, excuse me, after you sneeze, well, that's optional. You might do it, you might not. That's an extend. Perfect, right? The last main relationship we need to cover is generalization. This one is pretty straightforward. It's just a parent-child relationship. You have a general parent use case like make payment that has some common behavior. Then you have more specialized child use cases like pay by credit card or pay with PayPal that inherit all that common behavior from the parent but add their own specific steps. You use this to avoid repeating yourself and to show a really clear hierarchy. Okay, enough theory. We've covered the components and how they connect. Now, let's wrap this up with some practical advice for when you sit down to create your own diagrams. It's really just a simple 3-step process. First, just ask who or what is interacting with my system. Boom, those are your actors. Second, ask what are the main things they're trying to accomplish. Great, those are your use cases. And finally, you just draw the lines to connect them all and show how it all works together. That's it. And to save you some headaches, here are a few common pitfalls to watch out for. The number one mistake is adding way too much detail. Remember, this is a high-level map, not a step-by-step flowchart. Also, don't go crazy with include and extend. A simple association is often all you need. And please, always name actors by their role, like administrator, not a person's name like Bob. Finally, make sure your use cases are complete goals, like make a purchase, not tiny little steps like click button. So there you have it. By turning those abstract ideas into a simple, visual blueprint, you create a shared understanding that gets everyone on the same page from day one. So I guess the only question left is, what great idea are you going to map out first?